Welcome. We hope this broadcast finds you healthy and safe. Thank you for tuning into MSK's video pop-up series, where we discuss late-breaking news and issues that affect your business during these uncertain times. Today, we'll be hearing from Stephen Franz, attorney in MSK's labor and employment practice. As companies prepare to reopen, there are mounting questions on a wide range of topics. Today, Stephen will walk us through questions surrounding an employee's eligibility for paid leave under the Families First Coronavirus Response Act and how that comports with their kids returning to school under uncertain circumstances. Now over to you, Stephen.
Thanks, Doug, and good morning or good afternoon, everyone. Now, normally, the week after Labor Day means lovingly packing away our white clothes for the fall, and for many of us, lovingly packing our children off to school for the start of the new year. But these are not normal times, and while some children have returned to the classroom for in-person instruction, many others are beginning the year with either full-time or part-time virtual learning. So the question we're focusing on today is, are employees eligible for paid leave if their kid's school is completely or partially online? The answer to that question is found in the Families First Coronavirus Response Act, or FFCRA, and also guidance from the U.S. Department of Labor. Before we dive in, though, let's start with some background on the FFCRA. The FFCRA is a federal law that requires businesses with fewer than 500 employees to provide, depending on the circumstances, paid sick leave and expanded paid family and medical leave. Today, we're just focusing on the FFCRA. We're not discussing any of the state or local COVID-19 related laws. For our purposes today, if your business is covered by the FFCRA, if you have fewer than 500 employees, you must provide the following paid leave to your employees who are either unable to work or telework due to a need to care for their child whose school or place of care is closed due to COVID-19 related reasons. First, you must provide up to 2 weeks of paid leave for full-time employees. There's a cap on that leave of up to $200 per day and $2,000 in the aggregate. Additionally, you must also provide up to 10 additional weeks of paid family and medical leave for employees, capped again at $200 per day and $10,000 in the aggregate. Now, even though these laws may sound daunting or difficult for businesses, you must comply with them if you have fewer than 500 employees. That being said, small businesses with fewer than 50 employees may be exempt from the law's requirements, depending on the circumstances. Furthermore, employees that provide this paid leave are eligible for reimbursement through refundable tax credits. Note, however, that in order to get these reimbursements, these credits require documentation regarding the circumstances of the employee's leave. So, getting back to the question at hand, we know that an employee is eligible for paid leave under the FFCRA if a school or place of care is closed due to COVID-19 related reasons. But the question is a school closed if it's completely or partially online? Now, the U.S. Department of Labor gives us the answer. If a school or place of care has moved online, and this is the important part, where children are expected to complete assignments at home, then the school is indeed considered closed for the purposes of the FFCRA, and employers are required to provide paid leave to the eligible employees. Now, it wouldn't be the government if this answer raises a few additional questions. First, what about a situation where there's a hybrid attendance requirement? For example, if certain students go into school one day while others are online learning, and the next day it's the reverse. And the answer is, for the purposes of the FFCRA, the school is effectively closed on days where a child cannot attend school in person. So employees may take paid leave under the FFCRA on each of their children's remote learning days. Another question businesses have is, can employees seek intermittent leave to care for a child whose school is closed? As opposed to taking it in blocks. And the answer that the DOL provides is yes, as long as the employer consents to this intermittent leave requirement. Now, there is a recent and important caveat to this guidance from the DOL. There's a federal court in New York that recently overturned this requirement from the DOL that an employer consents to an intermittent leave request. Because the scope of this federal court's decision is unclear, and it's also unclear whether the DOL will either appeal this ruling or amend its regulations in accordance with the ruling, it's important for employees who are considering an intermittent leave request to exercise careful consideration and to consult with trusted employment counsel if there are any questions. So another question that might arise is, what if a school provides children a choice between either in-person learning or distance learning? I.e., the school is open, but they give the parents the choice whether they want their kids in the classroom or online, and a parent chooses the online option, for example, if they're concerned about the risk of the child contracting COVID-19 in the classroom. And the DOL says in this instance, the employee is not eligible to take paid leave under the FFCRA because the school is not closed due to COVID-19 related reasons. It provides the children the option to attend, and thus it's not closed. And the DOL makes the point that FFCRA leave is not available to take care of a child whose school is open for in-person attendance. Now, there is another consideration with that. If the child has been advised or ordered by a healthcare provider to self-isolate or self-quarantine due to COVID-19 related reasons, then the employee may be eligible for paid sick time to take care of that child. Now, finally, what about a situation where you're beginning the school year under a remote learning program due to COVID-19, but the school reserves the right to eventually switch over to in-person or hybrid learning, depending on its monitoring and assessment of the virus? So again, as long as the school is closed, employees are eligible to take paid leave when the school remains closed. And if the school reopens, then the availability of paid leave under the FFCRA will depend on the particulars of the school's operations. If they're offering in-person or hybrid, or if they continue to offer distance learning. And like all forms of leave, employers should evaluate these requests carefully and not hesitate to reach out to their trusted employment counsel with any questions. And accordingly, please don't hesitate to reach out to me if you have any questions. Once again, my name is Stephen Franz. I'm an employment attorney with MSK. And I'd like to thank you so much for your time. Back to you, Doug.
Great. Thank you, Stephen. And thank you all for joining MSK's video pop-up series today. These video sessions are intentionally brief without Q&A, and we hope that you find them useful. We also must emphasize that the information provided is not considered legal advice, but a general overview, and each situation requires further and appropriate analysis. If you have any questions for Stephen or need clarification on anything provided today, his information is currently on screen. And if you need additional guidance from anyone else on MSK's Reopen Rapid Response team, you can email us at reopen@msk.com. Keep an eye out for additional pop-up videos in the coming days and weeks. And more importantly, please remember to remain healthy, remain strong, and remain hopeful. Thank you and goodbye.